Okay, so
All right, we're going.
yeah, I see it. So tonight we are having our Water-Wastewater Commission meeting. It is September 14th, 2020, and we're still waiting for a few other people to come in, I think.
I'm here, Mary.
Okay, Tristan's here, Carol's here. Tristan, do you know if Greg is coming? You're muted, so you're gonna have to either shake your head yes or no.
I think Greg was coming.
Okay,
No, he was anyway.
okay. Maybe that's what that, no, I think that's Carol's number. Well, we can get started, I guess, without Tim. So anyway, I'm gonna call this meeting to order at 5:16, I guess. And the first item on our agenda is to approve the agenda, which I guess just Tim and I can do, unless Carol, you have any changes you want to. Tim and I mean, Josh and I already kind of approved it while we were waiting for people. Do you have anything, Carol, that you see that needs to be changed?
I don't, but if Tim is absent, who's doing the minutes?
We
Well-
can, we have a recording, so.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Guess you can get it off the recording.
Okay.
I kind of don't want to start the other stuff until he gets here, though. But
Well,
I guess we can do. I guess we could do introductions of who's here. Who
Yes.
wants. So let me say, if you want to speak during this meeting, you need to say that you're here. If you don't want to speak, we'd like you to say that you're here, but you don't necessarily have to. So I'll start, even though I think most of you know me. I'm Mary Lane. I'm the chairperson. Josh?
I'm Josh Pitts, I'm one of the commissioners.
And our Zoom guy.
I'm Scott Stone, owner of 83 Mill Street.
Okay, I think, is anybody else having a hard time hearing Mr. Stone?
Can hear.
No, well, yes, it's
We can hear
sounded very
you. Yeah, it's like that rubber bandy sound.
yeah.
Just Jason Factor, 108 Main.
Everything off the internet.
Jody Velarde, 78 Main Street Group.
Hey, Jody.
Betsy Blackshaw. Betsy Blackshaw, 88 Main Street.
Okay.
My audio any better now?
Yes.
Right now it is, yes.
Okay.
And Tristan?
Mary, Mary, it's Carol. You could always skip to the allocation relinquished while we're waiting for other people, because that's a pretty basic thing. If you.
Yeah, well, we're not done. We're not done.
Oh,
With
sorry.
the interviews yet. I mean, with the introductions. Interviews. Let me interview all of you. It's just Tristan's the only one left.
Sorry.
Yeah, just an assistant operator.
Okay.
This is Betsy. We're also expecting Aaron Fuller to be calling in.
Okay.
Okay.
Josh will keep an eye out for that. Did we lose? No, there he is. So, I'm sorry. Of course, right in the middle of this, my dog decided he had to go outside. This is the problems of having home meetings.
He's like a toddler.
Yeah, Okay, yeah, we can do the allocation relinquish. Do you know what that is, Josh?
I think he's done one before.
Yeah,
Okay, so, what's his name? David Dill? Is that his
David
name?
Hill,
Hill.
David Hill with H.
I don't
yeah.
know why I keep wanting to call him David Dill. David Hill at 173 High Street wants to give up 1 unit of water and 1 unit of wastewater, and Carol would like that dated back to 9/1/20. I will entertain a motion for that.
I will make a motion that we relinquish the allocation at 173 High Street, 1 unit, dated 9/1/20.
Okay, I guess I'll second it. And are we both in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
I
So that-
will add that the listers have verified this. He did not realize that he had to tell the water and wastewater, and he thought it would just automatically happen. So this is a actual verified giving up of an apartment.
Mhm. That's good.
Yes. All right. I've already written the letter. I will sign it. I will send it to him, and I will prorate accordingly. Thank you.
You're welcome. Carol, do you have Tim's number?
Now that is rather odd, isn't it? I don't know that I do.
I think I do. Hold on for a minute.
Okay.
It's on my other phone. I'm
Yeah.
gonna have you call him if you don't mind and see
Yes, certainly.
where the heck he is.
Very odd.
And I don't know, Tristan, do you want to call Greg and see where he is?
I can do that.
Nope. I don't have his number.
Yeah, I never called him, ever.
I have, and I thought I had it. I don't dare look at my one on my phone here. It'll probably,
I have Tim's number. I can give him a call.
okay, thanks.
Should I call Greg?
I just tried. He didn't answer.
Okay.
Oh
That's
well.
odd.
Well, Tristan, you know enough about it, don't you? That we could go on without him if he doesn't show up. He must be talking to Tim or
Yeah.
trying to.
Well, Tristan is certainly very knowledgeable in that whole situation.
Yeah.
Everyone and Betsy would just like to know if Aaron Fuller is willing to come on the call.
Yes, he said he was coming, and I don't know if.
I just
Did you
spoke
try to
with
call
him, and yeah, he's going to jump on.
Tim thought
He
it
should
was
be on any second.
Okay.
What'd you say, Tristan?
Tim thought it was 5:30. He's joining the meeting right now. Should be on.
Okay.
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 That was the same for Aaron.
Yes, Aaron's correct. Aaron is on at 5:30. That's correct. But the meeting's always at 5:15.
Should we make use of some of this time?
Excuse me?
Should we make use of some of this time, or do we need to wait for everybody?
Well, I think Tim's here now, so we can get going.
All right.
Wait a minute, who's that?
Aaron Fuller,
Oh,
I think.
is that with the blue walls behind you? Is that
Aaron?
Aaron?
Yes, hi.
Okay, hi.
There it is.
Last time you were on the phone, so I don't think we saw you.
Right.
Okay, so Tim, you know pretty much everybody, right? Except for maybe Mr. Stone. Unmute Tim and talk to me. Tim.
Hang on. I thought I had it unmuted, Mary. I'm sorry.
Okay. I
Now?
said, do you know pretty much everybody except for maybe Mr. Stone?
Yes, I think so.
Okay, so Mr. Stone, Tim, Mr. Stone.
Nice to meet you.
Okay, so let's get going on this. I guess the best place to start is with you, Mr. Stone. You can explain what it was that you wanted to come to the meeting for.
Yeah, sure. I'd like to know about how much background everybody has on this matter.
Probably enough.
Okay. As I understand it, Ben originally ran the sewage line in about 1981 or 1982. And at that time, people associated with the town of Plainfield, maybe this very committee, instructed him to tie into Betsy's pipe going from her house to the water main on sewage main on Main Street, which he did. And they were in negotiations at that time for an easement. And apparently someone, somewhere, somehow, I wasn't quite clear on his quick recitation of it, got a lawyer involved and made an easement that was unfavorable to the other party. And I don't know which party it was unfavorable towards. But at any rate, the easement never got signed. But in 1982, at the town's behest, he attached to Betsy's water line, which I believe was already being used by the house, Jody's house, and Betsy's house. Mel, in a meeting that we had about a year and a half ago, Mel, who is an elder at the church, and probably is in his 80s, although I'm not a good, how old?
Yeah.
His 90s.
90s.
Said that Betsy's house has been having the same problem for over 50 years, which places the problem in Betsy's house prior to Ben ever connecting the line to her pipe. Now, so the problem became that Betsy has backup sewage into her basement, and nobody wants that, including me. I'm no plumber, and I don't know how to get around the problem, but my understanding of hydrodynamics is that that water's got to be coming from somewhere. And if it's coming from somewhere intermittently, it's not a constant problem. Therefore, the other houses tied into the line are not producing the problem. Because if they were, it would produce the problem continuously. The problem is a very intermittent problem occurring mostly in the spring. Now, everybody knows in Vermont that spring runoff raises the water tables and backs up pipes. And whether that's done through holes in pipes or whether that's done from pipes that are feeding water out of the system and thus backing up parts of the system, I can't say no, I'm no sewer specialist. Incidental to Betsy's problem being found and discovered and tried to be dealt with, which is a problem extant for over 50 years. Found 2 holes in the pipe. It's a common pipe leading from Betsy's house to the main on Main Street. Those are partly my problem because the house that I bought 2 or 3 years ago feeds into that piping system, and I accept a quarter of the responsibility for fixing that pipe. I don't, on the other hand, full responsibility for fixing that pipe because it's a common pipe. The pipe has been used for decades by the 4 houses involved. I don't see how justly anybody in Plainfield can think that I should be the only one to fix that pipe. And I don't intend to move my sewage system because my sewage system doesn't have any problem. I haven't had any backups, nothing's going. I'm not flooding. I'm not, as far as I know, I'm not causing any problems individually. They scoped my pipe. There was nothing wrong with my pipe. My pipe was pristine. It was put in 1982. So my pipe is the problem. The problem, they found the 2 holes in the common pipe that runs from Betsy's house to Main Street. All right, so a simple solution to the problem is to sleeve that pipe in the area where the 2 holes in the pipe are, thereby making it competent again. I am more than willing to put up a quarter of the cost to do that. And it could easily be done when Aaron caps off the pipe from Betsy's house to the common pipe. I'm asking the town of Plainfield to help me to accomplish that solution. To be honest with you, my true thinking is that it should not be only part of the responsibility of the 4 houses connected to the pipe between Betsy's house and Main Street, but it also should have a portion responsible for Plainfield because the sewer main, which does a lot of drainage in the spring, may be partly at fault for blowing the pipe out between the sewage main and Betsy's house in the form of backup when the water's very high. But I don't see any legal way with your bylaws and whatnot to accomplish that. But I think true responsibility lies somewhat in the hands of Plainfield itself.
I guess at this point, I'd like to hear from Tristan and from Aaron about if what you heard rings true.
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead, Tristan.
Okay. So as far as our pipes causing an issue with that, that's not true. There's a 10-foot drop into that manhole. The manhole doesn't back up. Their mains are not backing up or causing any issue in that section of pipe. What Mr. Stone was saying is he spoke with Ben, who owns the bookstore, and he was the one who owned that property at the time that sewer line was put in. And there were, as he had said, there were no actual arrangements or agreements written down anywhere that were actually approved to talk about ownership for the lines going forward. So now it's just a matter of, I guess, figuring out that 4 people have been contributing. And from our point of view, as I understand it, and you can back me up here, we have more or less a couple of issues here. One, obviously, Betsy's being backed up. A couple of holes in the pipe, which can either feed sewage out or leak dirt and other materials into the system, which we don't want in the system. We have a number of houses that are all tied together in a fashion that our ordinances don't approve of. And in any case, the things have been grandfathered. Once there's an issue that needs correction, we try and separate the issues. Same as when 33 Main had, or Mill Street rather, had been sold, and as a 2-unit, they had to move the water and sewer because it was change of use and they'd been too close before. Previously grandfathered, this change caused that. So again, when we now have 4 that are tied into one in a manner that our ordinances don't approve, there's now an issue that needs to be corrected. We want them separated and we need the holes corrected. And that's more or less where we stand.
Okay.
So,
How about you, Aaron? Do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I got prices initially as part of my scoping for my 3 clients. I got pricing for an adequate liner for that pipe, and it was ridiculously high, more so than replacing lines. So that's why we chose not to go that route.
my understanding that one of the holes in the pipe is underneath Main Street. And to replace the pipe would cause us to dig up Main Street, would it not?
Yes.
Can I at some point I'd like to respond if let me know when that's appropriate.
Sure. After Aaron's done, you can go, Betsy.
Yeah, I'm
Okay, Betsy, you're on.
Okay, so I want to go back in terms of the information that Mr. Stone presented. My understanding is that the holes were from in the pipe running from 33 Mill Street out to the connection in the pipe in my yard. So it was running along the side of my yard, and the holes were not in the pipe running from my house out to the connection. The holes were in there's a hole in the street, and then they ran through the pipe running through the side of my yard. And I don't think that we can take, from as a fact from Mel's statement that the issue's been going on for 50 years. Basically, my recollection of what he said is that there's been flooding in the house on and off for a long period of time. So it wasn't so much the wastewater he was talking about as we have a dirt cellar and we do get water in there every spring. I also personally did talk to the contractor that Aaron was just mentioning about the liner. And he said that the problem with the liner in that situation was that it reduced the flow size. Can you hear me? So
Yes.
it reduced the flow size within the pipe, and that it would not meet code to put a liner in it. And so based on that not being an option, we started talking about running the wastewater line out the other side of my house, which is what we ended up pursuing. So it wasn't so much a dollar value in the cost, but the feasibility would not meet code once it was up. And the guess the other piece was Mr. Stone's comment that the pipes were scoped and that his was, that one running from 33 Mill was pristine was not the case. That's where when they did all of the camera work from each of our premises, discovered the holes on the pipe running along the side of the yard, and then found the hole in the street, which then drops from the pipe that runs into the street. It drops then down. I think I was told somewhere between 6 and 10 feet so it would meet the same level as the town pipe, and the hole is in the pipe in the street. So it's not in the pipe running from my house out to the street.
Kristen is here and scoping. Can he respond?
Yes. So we did do camera work from all of the houses, and the pipes on all of them looked fine coming out of the houses as far as they could go, including 33 Mill Street. The problem was in the line after it leaves Betsy's house heading towards the street, after the connection in 33 Mill Street. It's after that point there's a hole, and then there's another one a little bit farther along in the road. So it's not on a line that just a single person owns. Both holes are in sections that all 4 houses run through.
And is that the one that's going to become an 8-inch line that eventually the town will take over, but you guys are putting in or something?
No, that's on the pipes on the other side of my house that we're installing.
Oh, okay.
But I just heard someone say that that's a non-functional plan because the code calls for each house to be on its own line.
With the plan that they propose, they will be adding a manhole, and all 3 houses will be dropped in separately. They won't be a shared line anywhere aside from a part that becomes main and meets our codes.
Okay. So how do the other folks involved propose to deal with the problem of a common pipe with leaks in it that's still being used?
Common pipe will be relinquished to the town's control.
What if they don't accept it?
They already have.
They have, then it's theirs to fix.
No, the understanding is that the 3 households are paying for the installation. Once the installation is in place and confirmed by the town, they are taking over the maintenance of those pipes on the other side of my house.
But that's not the question. The question is that there is a common pipe with 2 holes in it, and I own, or I don't even know if you can say that I own, but I apparently am responsible for 1/4 of it. Where is the other 3/4 coming from? Because that's got to be replaced. I don't intend to move my pipe. There's nothing wrong with it. I would be happy to help put in an 8-inch pipe from, Main Street to some manhole on the church's driveway and then repipe over to there. But I'll pay 1/4 of the cost, not all of the cost, because the failed pipe is not mine individually.
You would be the only one that is using it. The rest, the 3 of us, the 3 other households are now will be using new pipes.
I understand that, but you have a responsibility to a pipe that you've used for decades that has holes in it. That's not stopping to be used. It continues to be used by one household, and it's still 1/4 of each of your responsibility to pay for. I've had the house for 2 years, maybe 3. I certainly am not responsible solely for the holes in the pipe from Betsy's house to Main Street. I am certain that 33 Mill did not cause those holes to the exclusion of the other 3 properties. I'm absolutely 100, no, I can't be 100% certain, but I'm astronomically certain that it's not all 33 Mill Street's problem. I'm asking for justice in the fact that I continue to use the pipe that has failed, but I didn't cause the failure. And I'm, as far as I understand it, 1/4 responsible for the pipe as a whole. Where is the other 3/4 percent, 75% coming from? Is my question.
Okay, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't you all 4 meet at one point to work this out together? And something happened and it fell apart, So the three houses, Jody's, Betsy's, and Mr. Fuller, is that your name? Sorry.
Hector?
Um,
Yes,
you guys all went ahead and decided to work this out then. Is that correct?
yes. But what had happened is that Betsy had hired Aaron Fuller to do a study and propose a solution to the problem. And we were presented with a fait accompli of the study costing around $60,000 or $15,000 a piece roughly to solve the problem. And in the initial meeting, I thought that that was a very unkindly thing to do to a new neighbor. And I thought there might be other solutions that were more parsimonious. And the meeting broke up and those three went their separate ways, and I didn't hear a thing more about it until I got secondhand information that this is what had happened. It doesn't void the fact that I'm using a common pipe that was used for decades by all four houses that now has 2 holes in it. It's not just, it is not just for me to pay the whole cost of the replacement of that pipe.
So has there been any other suggestions of what you can do that might?
Well, people have talked, like I said, about sleeving the pipe. But my understanding was that the pipe would be sleeved from the outside, therefore, thereby not causing a problem. But maybe they meant an internal sleeve, in which case the diameter of the pipe probably wouldn't be code.
Mhm.
But a sleeving of a pipe is a lot cheaper than putting in another main.
Except, didn't I hear that that's not necessarily the truth?
What's not necessarily the truth?
That would be cheaper? I'm sorry,
Aaron said something to the effect that the sleeving that he had looked at was cost prohibitive.
yeah.
Correct.
Relative to putting in a main,
What's that?
rational to me.
Can you give him some of the facts and figures that you found out?
I'm looking for them right now. I don't have them right in front of me. And I'm searching my email. I had contacted a company, I believe, that was out of Randolph, Vermont. And even he said he said there was an issue with the pipe being already connected to the manhole. He said they would have to dig the street up to cap it, and at that point you might as well just replace it. And but also that only corrects one of the problems. That doesn't correct both problems that are occurring.
Yeah, that's true. But if he sleeved the pipe between where my pipe joins the pipe from Betsy's to Main Street down to the Main Street main, I would probably still meet code, because now there's only one house on it, at least according to the proposals by Betsy and Jason and Jody. But that still leaves the ethical question of who's responsible for the payment of the fixing of that pipe.
Well, Mr. Stone, I just want to reiterate that there is no easement on my property for that existing pipe that runs from your house out into connecting to mine.
Betsy, there's an easement by gentleman's agreement and verbal contract, because otherwise the pipe would not be where it is.
No, that's not correct, because you also stated that
How
The
did it
pipe
get
was
there?
put in 1981, 1982, and I
That's
did
what
not
that-
know about the pipe running through and from 33 Mill until a year and a half ago. So
When did
there
you buy
is
the
no
house?
gentleman's agreement.
When did you buy the house?
My husband had purchased the house in the early 90s.
Okay, so the pipe from 33 Mill to the pipe in your yard was there before he bought the house. When
Yeah,
you buy
but
a piece of
without any,
property,
with,
you
anyway,
inherit agreements that have gone with the property, including easements and rights of way. You
no,
can't
there
void
is no, Aaron, if you can maybe go over where once the other three households are not using the pipe going out to the street, then there would be no legal responsibility for the three of us to
No, I don't agree.
put that.
I don't agree at all.
May I ask a question?
Yes, go ahead.
In the town of Plainfield, sewer ordinance or water ordinance, what is the homeowner responsible for, and what is the town responsible for?
You want that, Tristan?
Yes, we're responsible for the mains themselves. Homeowners are responsible from wherever their connection is in their basement into our mains. Mains are generally defined as between manholes and a minimum of 8-inch pipe, with very few exceptions.
Right. So if the three clients I'm working for are disconnected from that pipe, I'm wondering what is why Mr. Stone thinks that it is required of them to pay for maintenance of it if it's not their pipe anymore.
It is their pipe. Unless you give the pipe to me and the land above it, I'll be happy to fix it then.
Well,
If you want to give the land to me above the pipe and the pipe itself, deed that to me, I'll be happy to fix the whole thing.
I don't believe that's an option, but that's not my choice.
It is an option. It may not be a good option, people here, but it is an option.
I can confirm that that's not an option.
Okay. So how does it become my pipe? If it's under Betsy's land. It was Betsy's pipe long before, well, it wasn't Betsy's pipe, it was whoever owned Betsy's pipe before her. From, long before she owned the house. How does that become my pipe all of a sudden?
No,
50
no.
years of use here that created two holes in the pipe. It's not my responsibility as a homeowner of 2 or 3 years. I mean, I don't know where your rationale or thinking is coming from. It's just ridiculous. Look at the face of it. I've owned the house for 2.5 years. There's a hole in a pipe that's been used for 2 holes in a pipe that's been used by 4 houses for over 50 years. And because 3 other homeowners want to jump ship, you're telling me that I, as the homeowner of 2 or 3 years, is responsible for 5 decades worth of damage to a pipe?
Well,
where is common sense?
Here's what I'm hearing, okay? That each one of those homeowners are going to be bearing the cost of putting their own pipe from their place or wherever it comes out, I'm assuming out of your house, into the main. So they're all three going to be paying for that. I think what they're sharing, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, is the excavation costs. But as far as installing the pipes, I think that each one has to be, I'm assuming, paying for at least a third of that work. Is that correct?
And the jumping ship of trying to avoid their responsibility of the common pipe between Betsy's house and Main Street, I don't care how much they spend or what they do, or it's not relevant to me. They could build a palatial sewage system that, you know, makes every other one in the area look like a farce, and do whatever they want to do, but it's not relevant to the problem that I'm having, which is that this town of Plainfield is, can you still hear me?
Yes.
The town of Plainfield is trying to ask me to take ownership of a pipe that's been commonly used for over 50 years. There's something inherently wrong with that position.
Well, Plainfield is just saying that there's a problem in this section of pipe. 3 homeowners came to us with a way to solve their contribution to it that meets our standards. And we approved it. We said that this meets our standards. You're the only one who hasn't come with a solution to contribution into a pipe that has an issue.
I've come with a solution. I'm fully willing to take 1/4 responsibility for the fixing or the replacement of that pipe. Fully willing. I'm not trying to be obstructionary at all. That's my solution. I'll give you another solution. The town of Plainfield will bear the cost of putting a manhole in on, let's say, the church's properties, under their driveway or something. I'll be more than happy to rerun my pipe.
I believe my clients would be happy to connect to a manhole over there too, but unfortunately that wasn't an option provided by the town.
I hear you. So instead, it's an option that's weighing on the shoulders of the other 3 homeowners ethically to help me to solve this problem.
It was my understanding that the town had also presented to you to put the manhole on your property. So I'm not sure why you would put the burden on the church and its property.
It was actually an option to put a manhole behind Ben's house, the bookstore, and then connect my pipes from under there to there. And then I'd have to run a pipe from the manhole all the way out to Hudson Street, costing me probably $20,000 or $30,000. It's not a good option.
Okay. I have a question for you, Mr. Stone, if I may.
Sure.
This is Greg, right?
Yep.
Yes, dear.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, I understand that you are trying to get the shared responsibility for that pipe. But what I would like to ask you is, if you have a hole in the roof on the house that you just bought 2.5 years ago, who's responsible for that?
I am.
And that's been there for 50 years.
No, the hole in the house hasn't been there for 50 years because an inspection of the house would have found a hole in the house and I would have either accepted responsibility or not. Nobody inspected those pipes until very recently on a problem that's been happening in Betsy's house for over 5 decades before she was even there. According to Mel, it's been around a long time. So we know that the problem on Betsy's house was known or should have been known by Betsy or her husband or whoever bought the house, that the house occasionally flooded with gray water or whatever it flooded with, I don't know. But it did flood. So that problem, which has been there for 5 decades, caused an incidental finding that there's 2 holes in a pipe that's commonly held by 4 houses for over 5 decades. and all of a sudden,
But the question is,
three parties abandon ship, it becomes my responsibility. There's something fundamentally wrong. Do you not feel it? I mean, is it so hard to understand?
well, is it hard for you to understand that they're now taking another route and leaving you with an option of taking that pipe or putting your own system in?
I'll be happy to take that pipe. I'll use a quarter, I'd be happy to pay a quarter of the cost to get that pipe fixed.
So if they give you the pipe, then
What?
you're going to only pay a quarter of the repair cost? They're giving you the pipe, but you're going to only repair a quarter of it.
No, they're not giving me the pipe. They're allowing me to continue to use it.
There you
If they
go.
want to give me the
Okay.
pipe and the ground over the pipe, I'll be happy to pick up the whole cost.
Well, if you remember the conversation with Mr. Koenig, when they put that in, that was not presented. So therefore, that right of way is always been an abstract, and it's never been actually granted by anyone.
No, that's not true, Greg, because if it had not been granted, it would not be connected. There was at least some kind of verbal agreement allowing an easement for that pipe to be put into Betsy's pipe. We don't have record of it because they didn't finish a legal document saying so.
Right.
But,
Absolutely.
but the easement exists. And so when Betsy's husband bought the house, that easement came with it.
Okay. And so they're granting you right to use that. If they grant you the right to use that easement, you're going to cost them money because they granted you that right?
Absolutely, because their houses,
Why?
Why? Used that pipe, I'm telling you, their houses used that pipe for 50 years, 5 decades, and assisted in creating the holes in the pipe.
So did yours.
But do you get that do you get that they are fixing their pipe? They're fixing their problem. They're not just saying you're responsible for that pipe and they're going to keep using it. They're, I don't know, going to cap it or whatever they're going to do with that part of the pipe because they're putting in their own pipe. They're spending their money to put in their own pipes. So what's left is you figuring out how to put in a up to code sewer system for your house.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, when I bought my house, and luckily, I mean,
There's something wrong with you people.
it's not just Plainfield. This is everywhere. What is just possibly Plainfield is, oh, I'm getting a bad echo. Is years ago, people did make those kind of agreements, but I'm not a lawyer. Betsy is. I don't know if Betsy, you're the kind of lawyer that can speak to that, but I don't know that when the original people that had, say, a gentleman's agreement pass on or sell a house and are no longer there, if those kind of agreements are still in place.
Yes.
My guess would be no.
No, your guess is wrong.
Okay.
No, her guess is right.
No, her guess is wrong because if it's a verbal agreement, it's a contract. And the contract stays with the property. It doesn't float away when somebody dies or, you know, if somebody sells the house, it doesn't float away. It's an agreement that is carried along with the property to the land. Now, if it's written, it's even more, it's a stronger, what do you want to call, legal position, but there's still a good legal position to be made that the fact that that pipe is there is a gentleman's contract that allowed that pipe to be there.
Okay, so I got a question for you, Mr. Stone.
Yep.
If you want everyone else to participate in the cost of repairing that pipe for you, are you willing to assume 1/4 of the total cost of them getting the rest of their system fixed?
I might be if we reevaluate the situation and come to an agreement about piping over to the church's property to put a manhole in and then running pipes from each of our houses to that manhole, I might consider something along those lines, but I'm certainly not willing to pay to fix Betsy's problem, or what I want to fix is the problem that exists for me, which is the holes in the pipe to Main Street.
I would like to speak on the question regarding the easement. I do not believe that an easement exists without a document, and in a written document created for Mr. Stone is suggesting it was a courtroom and a judge's.
That may be where we need to go.
Mary, I just want to, following along here, the Water-Wastewater Commission is our court. The situation is that to meet, as Tristan specified, to meet the code, the ordinances state that when you have a change to the system, that these grandfathered things that are in place have to be brought up to code. And so it's the responsibility of the homeowner to make sure that the line from their house, when these situations occur, like that the financial burden falls to the homeowner. Now, if Mr. Stone, if you disagree with the solution, you're obligated to come up with some other way to connect to the city or to the wastewater system. And if you don't have an easement and you're not being granted an easement, like I don't, well, then you're going to have to show it to someone in a court and not the Water-Wastewater Commission.
The pipe is not draining into the ground. It's draining into Betsy's pipe. How did it get there? Did they sneak in one night and attach it when nobody was looking?
There's no evidence that that did not occur.
Okay, all right. You guys are good. Here's my other pocket. And there's no evidence that you didn't tell me right before the meeting that you wanted to gift me your house either.
Correct.
Correct.
I'm feeling confused, like this is mediation, and I don't think
Yeah.
that's it.
I was just going to say that, Betsy. I think as far as the town is concerned, I think we're kind of out of this because we just need to know that there's a pipe that's going to be going from the house to the main. And it is the homeowner's responsibility to make that happen.
Okay.
So Betsy and the other two have already made, well, I don't know if they've already made it happen, but they've already figured out how to make it happen.
Okay.
So the one person that's left is you. And however you do that, I don't know if
You don't care who spends money as long as it's not you. I'll do it. I have the money. Has nothing to do with that. It has to do with the justice of it and the ethics of it. And if you people are like this, I'll handle the cost. Don't worry about that. You'll have to handle your consciences. I can't do that.
As Mary said, we don't own the pipe, so the town's not going to put any money forward to fix the
Let's
issue.
try to set up some mediation.
Tristan, can you say that again? It cut in and out. I couldn't understand what you said.
Sure. I just said that the town doesn't own these pipes, so we have no financial responsibility to fix them, which is why we will not be putting money forward for this. We do own what comes into our system and what could possibly leach out, and that's why we're saying that there's an issue that needs to be fixed. The 3 homeowners came with an acceptable solution that we're happy to have go forward. We just need to see one more. However that's done, doesn't matter as long as the requirement that we have written down in our ordinances.
Let's set up mediation. I'll have Betsy give a call to my ex-wife and we'll set up some mediation. I don't think this is productive. I don't think we can solve it here. The town's interest is not in any justice or ethical position whatsoever. They have a set of rules that they go by and they adhere to that blindly. That's fine. The other homeowners don't seem willing to step forward to solve a problem ethically. We therefore require mediation.
I don't know if this is the end of the meeting, but I have to disagree, Scott, that this is Jody. And we've been in full communication since the very beginning. And you've presented a very different plan, or not a different plan, but a different understanding. And I totally appreciate your willingness to present it in a space of justice and responsibility and accountability for covering the cost of something that you are now wrapping your head around. We have been working with this for the last year, and it's about the meeting of plans, I guess, at this point, or we might have to have separate meetings. I don't think this meeting is about mediation, but I really appreciate you bringing your concerns to and hearing what you have to say, because I know and I agree with Karen and our team that there was a real disagreement with who was responsible for what, and we decided together, our 78 Main, 108 Main, 88 Main, that we were in agreement to fix this, to really take this under our wing as a team to cover the cost of this. And you have a different covering of costs, a quarter spread across, and that's a different conversation at this point, and not one I'm willing to have.
Okay. Yeah, I understand. Very good. Hope you sleep well tonight, folks. I think I'm out of here.
Mr. Stone, I would also like to point out that at the onset of this project, I met with all 4 homeowners, 88, 108, Valari and you, and you were not cooperative during the meeting. You were combative, and you
Not combative, my friend.
agreed with
I didn't touch
everything I said. So I don't appreciate the fact that you're saying, I hope you guys sleep well with your ethical decisions, because I don't feel that to be accurate.
I understand that you don't, but I'll also say this, Aaron. You surprised, you and Betsy performed a fait accompli on the other homeowners, telling us what we were going to do. You did not come to us and say, what can we as a team do to solve these problems?
That's incorrect.
That is correct. You came with a plan that was already performed, that was already designed and already drawn out, that we could either accept or refuse. And that's what happened.
Do you realize hold on one moment, Betsy. Do you realize that there are state regulations and town regulations we need to adhere to?
Yes.
Those are the driving forces. We can't do whatever we want in these circumstances, unfortunately.
I understand that, but the plan could have been drawn up by all 4 homeowners. Instead, it was drawn up by you and Betsy. when two people are involved in a project, there's often a very different outcome than when 5 people are involved in a project. We didn't get that opportunity. We got the opportunity to buy in or buy out.
Okay,
So,
Betsy,
Mr.
you
Stone-
wanted to speak. Wait a minute. I want to just, Betsy, you want to speak, and I'm going to give you that chance, but we're 5 minutes over what I had allotted for this.
Yeah, and I think
So
we're
go
done
ahead,
with it.
Yeah, I agree.
Betsy, and then we're going to have to wrap this up.
Okay,
agree.
great, thank you. The initial meeting that we had at my house where we got everybody together, including Paula and including the church at that point, we didn't have a grasp of what the whole situation was. And we did kind of a tour of where the locations were. And even in that part, there wasn't cooperation to listen to what the problem was. And then when we started talking about it, that, you know, to Aaron's defense, he didn't come up with a finalized plan, and I had nothing to do with that. He was hired to try to help us to identify what the problem was and to attempt to make a proposal. And in the process of trying to present that proposal, that you wouldn't listen to what the whole problem was. And it was very clear, because the purpose of that meeting was to identify the problem, to see if we could work together to figure it out. And there was no final plan presented. It was an initial, here's an idea. So I'm finished, Mary.
Who hired Aaron?
I actually wasn't hired at that point. No one had hired me. I had got a phone call.
Contacted Aaron to work up a plan.
Okay, well, it sounds like we're not going to get this figured out here, really. And
Thank you.
we're willing to help as much as we can to, you know, I know that both Tristan and Greg have come over and talked about various ways that you can work with your system. But other than that, I don't know what more, you know, we can do other than keep in touch. We want you to keep in touch with us about what you're deciding to do, because obviously something does have to be done.
I want to thank the commission for the opportunity to be on the agenda, to be able to participate. So thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you all very much.
You're welcome, folks.
Look forward to some time to follow up.
Likewise.
Take care, guys.
Bye.
Okay. So I guess we can just keep on going. I will admit that I didn't read the minutes, so.
You wrote the minutes. Oh, the minutes.
I didn't.
Sorry, Mary.
You wrote the minutes.
I crossed the wire and thought you said, I thought what you said is you had not read the agenda. Don't
Yeah, I
ask me
figured.
why my brain made that cross connection. It's like, wait a minute, you wrote the agenda. So it took me a moment to catch up with my own mistake.
I think we're all a little brain dead. My computer is not working, so I guess I can leave Zoom to go to the website or whatever to read it, but did you read them, Josh?
I've got them open in front of me here, and I don't, nothing is jumping out at me. I think they're fine.
Okay, let's just go with that.
I make a motion that we approve the draft minutes from 7/20/2020.
Okay, I will second that, I guess. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That's passed. Okay, let's
Mary,
see.
may I just, for just one moment, please, just some administrative credit this end. In terms of what our minutes should indicate, did you guys actually start the meeting? I mean, I thought it was 5:30. I somehow screwed up. Did you actually start the meeting before that? I just want the accurate time for our minutes.
Yeah, we started him at 5:16.
5:16?
Yeah. And we went from approving the agenda first, and then we jumped to the allocation relinquished.
Okay, so the agenda
One.
was approved, and then the allocation
The relinquished allocation at 173 High State
was
Street
approved.
for David Hill. Yeah, that was approved. And dated back to 9/1/20.
Okay,
Okay. So next is
thank you.
Carol's piece, and then she's gonna leave.
Can I do that?
I'm okay. I'm okay to stay a little bit longer now. I've worked it out.
Okay.
So I don't know how you want to word the approval of paying the medical bill so as to keep with HIPAA or privacy or whatever. How do you think I should word that, Mary?
Well, there's a couple ways we could do it. We could go into executive session, talk about it, and then come out and say that we've approved it. But since we kind of pretty much know what it is, I think we can
Right.
just say that we approve for the medical bill for an employee.
That would be
Okay.
my take, Mary. We've already discussed this, so we all agree to
Yeah.
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 that this should be paid. This is not a responsibility for Tristan to me.
No, and it has been paid.
Yeah. But we're just saying that it's okay that you did pay it.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Is there, this is just my own curiosity. This strikes me as no different than any of the other warrants that I routinely sign. Why are we saying this is somehow different? This is an expense that I approve. Why is it
No,
distinct? What's going on?
I'm doing what I've been asked to do.
Okay, so Linda asked that it be done this way?
She said that we needed approval.
Okay, that's fine. I'm just asking. I don't mind doing it. It just struck me as odd. Why are we treating this particular expense different than any of the tens of thousands of dollars I signed for?
I know.
That's
know.
Oh,
fine.
because it has to do with personnel.
Probably. I don't really care. I just think we should approve paying that,
Yeah.
whatever we have to
I
say.
think yes. It to me it's kind of like when sometimes employers require a physical before employment and then they just pay it. So now this was something that came up. $89, $88.95.
Yep. Okay.
So the
So we all
commission
approve.
approves payment of medical bill for
Of
employees.
an employee's medical bill.
Related to their job duties.
There you go. That's good.
Yeah.
The commission
That's
approves
88.
payment of medical bill for employee related to their job duties. Anything further we wish to put in that?
The amount.
Carol, could you give me?
$88.90. Yes, it's $88.95.
Thank you.
Are you at work, Josh?
Yes, I am.
I noticed that color. I remember that color. Okay. So anything else other than the Goddard thing?
No, because I haven't had time to print out reports or anything.
Okay.
The water came in very well, and some people that missed it paid before I even had a chance to do the delinquent list. So
Like
that's
me.
good. Yes, but yes, and a lot of people, but the Goddard thing, I sent them a reminder again. I've gotten no reaction.
Mm. So
And the trouble is when they keep running behind like this, then by the time they pay it, it's already time for me to bill them again.
yeah.
And it's just a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
So
What we wanted to talk about, I guess, even though we already have talked about it, but is to come up, I think while we're all in one place, to come up with some possible dates during the day to invite the muckety mucks at Goddard to come over and talk to us about the impact of what could happen if they don't pay their bills? You know, Carol was talking about how since there's not as many people on campus that, you know, maybe we shouldn't be charging them as much or whatever, but really they're renting out the campus to the herbal school and maybe other places, I don't know, but so there are people on campus, maybe not as many.
No, and they
Don't
seem to
have
shut
any
down.
qualms about the fact that they made a legal agreement for holding it to them.
Right, right. And they haven't come to us. That is the other thing. They have not come to us to say what's going on.
Well, they never do. So do you guys still think it would be a good idea before budgeting to get them over here and talk to them? Well, I mean, get them on Zoom and talk to them? They'll do
I
it.
don't see any harm to it, Mary, but I honestly am not sure it really will change anything. My guess is they're not paying us because we are something that they feel they can slide, where the electrical company will shut them off. You know, their
Right.
insurance carrier will drop them. You know, they're paying the bills that they absolutely have to, because if they don't pay their gas bill, they don't have heat.
Right.
Because they know that if they don't pay us, it will take time before we take action. And they're probably gambling that we weren't willing to shut off the Northwood apartments.
Right.
Right.
So,
But I still
it's
think
an
it,
item. I just don't see we'll get anything other than platitudes and an assertion that they will pay.
well, I'm not even so much talking about the bills. What I'm talking about is long range plans, like,
Hmm.
you
I don't
know,
think they know.
if you guys, well, but if you guys know you're going to be folding or whatever,
Right.
certainly hope that's not going to happen. But if it looks like that's going to happen, we need to know, because you guys are, you know, the biggest part of our, I mean, just to
Giving
let,
me the drink,
because you
Tristan?
probably don't think about, you know, oh, well, if we don't pay, then the town's not going to, what are you laughing about?
Tristan is sipping a fine whiskey because we've driven him to drink during the middle of this meeting. And I cannot in the least blame him, because this thing isn't I can't believe he made it this far before he had to take a sip, because I was ready to punch that freaking idiot in the nose if it kept going any longer. So I had to
No.
mute myself to keep from being stupid. But anyway, I'm sorry,
Right.
Mary. Please go forward.
No, I know. It was painful.
If he wants to do something, he needs to apologize to his neighbors. That's the single way out of this problem, is act like an adult. Go to them and say,
Yeah.
okay, I've been an idiot. What do I have to do to fix this? I will put up a third of the cost. Let me in. It's cheaper than paying to do this stupid thing myself.
Right.
And to bring
Right.
things to mediation or to sue us. I mean, for God's sakes, what's he thinking? He's not. But anyway,
So for Goddard College, please. I'm sorry I derailed this so badly.
no, well, that's okay. But just to back to him for a second, just, you know, he did say that he would do that, but I think at this point, because of the way he treated them, Betsy's just like, no.
Well, no, the thing is if he wants to, what he has to do is he has to be serious. He has to say, fine, I will personally put up a third of it. I'll put the money in escrow. You will get the money. Let me in. You throw enough money in someone's face, they might react. You might have to go to a half in order to get it. It just will be cheaper than doing whatever the hell he's going to do by himself.
Yeah.
Right.
That's sanity talking, and it's clear that guy ain't got it.
Yeah.
Back to Goddard, I don't think I don't know that we're necessarily under the need to talk to them. I don't feel like beyond just sort of day-to-day operations that like there's a clear like change of, you know, like if you know, if they have some idea where they're going to have a big change of use, then like we'd really want to know that. But you know,
Well, but go ahead.
like, because like, you know, change of use kind of would leave open the possibility like that maybe they would want to get out of like what they're currently paying. That's illegal. Like they have an agreement with the commission. This is what we're going to pay. They could make the case that change of use means that they don't owe us what they're paying us.
Yeah. Well, that is kind of what I was talking about. But I guess the problem, I was going to say we could do it with a letter, but the problem with letters is apparently they don't get them.
What's confusing to me is that years ago when they wanted to drop from the 22% to the 18%, and then they wrote us a friendly letter and said, that's not fair. We'll stick with 20% instead of 22%. So now that they've been in financial straits for so long, why isn't someone over there coming to the town again, like they did years ago, and saying, can we work out a different agreement? I don't understand.
Yeah.
They have in the past come to us.
New people. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. I don't even know if any of them even think about it.
J.C. Myers came to us and he wanted us to make an adjustment, but
That's true.
we correctly pointed out that they were getting a really good deal right now. He didn't really want to open the can of worms with us of having us have to reopen a massively grandfathered agreement, which would then lead to somebody saying, that agreement is so freaking old that you've got to bring it into alignment with the current standard. And boy, they would end up getting, Josh had it nailed. He was like, you don't want us to go this way.
Sure.
You need to say thank you and walk away because you're getting a really good deal right now. If you kick this can of worms open, you're probably not going to like what you're going to get out of it. So we did, that was attempted. And the simple fact of the matter is, right now, they're getting a good deal, period. End of story, in my opinion. I mean, we legitimately, if you looked at the hard numbers, we should be charging them a lot more because we're not charging them any extra. We're literally charging them for the draw. And I don't draw what I have for an allotment. So, I mean, I'm paying, part of my fee is going to pay for Goddard. So.
Right. On the water, though, on the wastewater, they're paying a lot of money.
Yeah, well, if they had to put if they had to put a septic system in up there,
true.
how many freaking millions of dollars would that be to set up? That would be colossal.
Right.
They would come running to us in a heartbeat begging to please stay hooked to our system because they don't want to deal with that. That would be major expense.
They'd have to have somebody run it.
Oh yeah, no, it'd be extremely expensive. And I don't think they're getting away with a leach field with something that big. They're going to have to install some sort of a small wastewater treatment system.
Absolutely. Especially with the other houses on Graywood and Sugarwood that run through theirs.
Yep.
So I'm sorry, we've drifted way off again, Mary.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say, let's just leave it then, I guess.
Okay.
The
only other thing, we never officially discussed the Brook Road project. I emailed everyone. And I just want to say that in the future, we're going to have to try to reach out to more people, more companies to give us some prices. And we also need to really pay attention to what the final budget is at budgeting time and be a little more careful that everything gets put in the way you truly want it to be put in and goes along with what you decided at the meeting and put in the minutes of the meeting. But as you know, the total cost of the Brook Road project, not including Tristan and Greg's time and gas running to get more supplies, was $69,047.75. And so all told, it's well over $70,000. So that was way too expensive.
Enjoy those showers, Josh. Yeah. Well,
we just need to reach out to other people, because I think on this one, I think Bowen was not very fair on some things.
Yeah.
It's not part of this, but I'd like to, when we get to the part that the system operators could speak to it, I'd just like a little bit of a rundown for how did we end up so wildly over? And that's not a small jump. That's something close to half again as an expense. Did we really encounter things that we hadn't anticipated, or what happened? How did we end up so out of kilter? But we
Well,
can save that for when for Greg's report if Carol's trying to get
Well,
off.
no, I mean,
It's
this is the time for them to talk about that.
Okay.
Update.
There was one expense of $886, which was for a special drilling that they could not have foreseen needing. So that was almost $900. And that's all I have to say.
Greg, Tristan, do you have anything else to say?
Is Greg saying something or?
I don't know.
I was going to, but then I saw that you turned on your mic, so I figured I'd let you speak because you were there all the time. You saw what was going on. I was only the witness that ran back and forth. I couldn't believe what you were seeing when you got the ground open. I mean, it was not what was planned at all.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not exactly sure item by item what ended up going over what they estimated for us. I know we did run into a few things, like the line that came off the main was a 1-inch copper line that then went to a 2-inch black iron, which is absolutely the wrong way to do plumbing. So that's where we had to drill a new and tap a new service. That was the $800, almost $900 that Carol mentioned. When we had to go out and around one of the culverts, we ended up having to get some stone, and which probably was fairly expensive. I don't know exactly, but the stone to reline that ditch, because our other options when we got to it probably would have been a lot more expensive. So going around it took longer, and there was extra stone. I think we ended up using a little bit more gravel or the plant mix that they brought in than had originally been accounted for. But I don't know exactly, like I said, item by item what it was, but it wasn't exactly what we hoped it was when we started digging.
It seems that's an extraordinary jump in expense. I mean, it is, I believe it almost doubled. Didn't we have 48,000 as kind of the notional number of what we thought that would cost?
Yes.
And we're up around 70. I mean, not quite doubled, but well, that's a pretty serious inflation to wind up.
Just the paving was $18,500, which probably nobody had any idea that would cost so much money.
Well, we did. The problem is I don't know exactly where it went wrong, but I know when I was talking with Donnie originally, that original quote of the 48,000, half of that was paving.
Wow.
And so I don't know exactly what ended up, like I said, item by item, but we were expecting, I mean, 18 is probably around what we were expecting the paving part to cost.
Right.
So when you run into these problems with having to retap and then, get extra stone, and so it sounds like it added work days to the project.
Yeah, it probably did that, and hauling costs and whatnot to move stone. And
yeah, and like my experience is that it's like the number of days of units of labor increased is what really kicks you in the butt.
right, I mean, we were paying 4 people, 2 flaggers and 2 excavator operators for extra days. So yeah, that was probably part of it, plus a little bit of extra stone, having to put in a new connection. Yeah.
Part of the original estimate was based on the original excavation where we actually fixed the first part of the leak and then ran the original line. And based on those materials, that's what they came up with for an estimate on the remaining part. And the problem is that when they got over to that culvert that was 5 feet deep and started having to re-engineer the project, that's when the cost went up dramatically.
Yeah.
And
I
that
see
was unforeseen.
there's a lot of traffic control costs too. That added up very quickly, $1,000 a whack.
Yeah, absolutely. But we could never have done it without traffic control.
No, of course not. But
Yeah.
here forward, we need to reach out to other folks because there was this job that was done right in front of Mary's house, and the highway department reached out to at least two contractors, one being Bowen, and Bowen was astronomically higher than the other folks, which was Matthews. So.
I'm not throwing a rock through your guys' window. I'm just asking. So there was no way of anticipating that we were going to have to redirect around a culvert? That just seems like a structure that would be something you could see and that you could tell about where it is, about how deep it was. So I'm just a little mystified as to why we were surprised by needing to move around a culvert.
The original plan was that we were going to either lay the pipe, I think we were going to lay the pipe over the culvert that was there. But because of the positioning of the culvert, putting the pipe over the culvert in its present place would have made it much more freezable. Okay, it would have been susceptible to frost, and so that was why we went around it so that we would avoid that in the future. Because again, that culvert at the same time that they did it, didn't you find that it needed to be, doesn't that culvert need some service anyway? I mean, I think they decided that it wasn't in very good shape, and that's going to have to be dug up at some point in the near future.
The entrance to it was kind of rough. I don't know about the actual culvert itself, where it ran. But it also did get the line out of the way of that culvert and hopefully less likely to freeze.
It just seems to me that this is something which should have been anticipated in the preparation of this project, that the culvert was there and that we didn't want to cross it.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I'm doing a post-mortem, and I realize I'm looking back with 2020 hindsight. I'm just trying to learn from what went wrong on us in the first place. I mean, it would seem that why didn't we catch that? That just seems a little, to me, as a total amateur sitting here, it just seems a little obvious that we didn't realize we needed to move the pipe somewhere else.
Seems like Bowen should have known that, right?
Well, in the initial conversation that we'd had about the culvert, we accounted for extra blue board to insulate on either side. So we had taken something into consideration for that culvert. But given the way the digging went and everything else, we ended up deciding that going around it would be less likely to freeze and probably have less likely issues if they were doing anything with that culvert again. So we did have some consideration, but
Okay.
And in these situations, when we like reach out to companies, for pricing and quotes, like what in terms of hiring them, like what are when their situations arise, what situations are their responsibility? Is that any of that is in a written form or any kind of because in my experience, when you have a quote is contractual, based around scope. So did they, if it's just time and materials, then that's a pretty big gamble. And I, is this estimate was time and materials, or there was part of it that are quoted?
It was pretty much time and materials. It laid out the materials and the job that needed to be done, and they gave us a quote for what they expected time and the cost of materials to be.
Right, an estimate, but not a binding quote. Because like for, for budgeting purposes, sometimes, and I don't know how it works in, as a municipal department or in, in this industry versus, my experience here working with pretty big companies, like there's parts of the job that, where, when I'm working with the project managers, I say like, what's time and materials, what's a firm quote. And a lot of times like the financial department would prefer that I have a firm quote because then they can, it gives financial, reliability in the budget. And
I'm going to, oh, go ahead.
and so in the future, when we're getting these big projects, it may look bigger initially, but leaving open less wiggle room or to have things blow up price wise.
You said something about engineering. Who is doing engineering on this?
There was no engineering on this.
Okay, that's what I didn't think so.
Right, we kept it under 500 feet so that we wouldn't have to hire an engineer to do it. It was
Right.
just what was there.
That's what I thought, but I thought you said something about engineering. When we have a big project that has the engineers, we always have those meetings where we talk about how much money they've spent and all that. I wonder if that's something that we should do, at least if by nothing else, a better communication with us being the commissioners about, look, we ran into this is what's going on, just so it's not like all of a sudden we hear, oh my God, we've spent, or is that too much of a ask?
I mean, in the middle of
It's
the project,
definitely,
probably a big ask, but if we want to change up a little bit how we're doing it, I mean, getting more quotes and doing it more like how we hired A&E to do the 20-year evaluation. We try and get a few different people, lay out bids and say, here's the scope of the project and do it that way. That would be doable. But in the middle of the project, if something comes up, kind of got to fix it. And the best we can do is let you know.
Yeah, you do.
Oh, no. Well, no, I don't mean, I'm not saying that you come to us and then we make a decision. I mean, just let us know that, we had to spend this much, and maybe you did at meetings and I'm just not remembering it, but just so we know as it's going kind of, or at least during meetings, or maybe when we have a bigger one, or if it looks like it's going to be a bigger project than expected, we could just have a quick Zoom meeting or something. I don't know. Probably wouldn't make any difference, so maybe not. But I was just thinking, sometimes it's like when we get it so far after it's over, it's just kind of like a, whoa, what happened there? Instead of, oh, okay, that made sense,
I think the ground is open and it's like something they have to fix right then and there. And
well, I
Yeah.
get it. No, I get it. I'm not saying that they need to ask permission. I'm saying that just to let us know that something is more than what we thought it was going to be.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And it doesn't have to be that day. I mean, just,
Right.
if it's not anywhere close to a meeting, just to write an email. You've written a couple of those emails, Greg, where you've kept us
well,
up to
actually,
that kind of stuff.
yeah, I thought I told you guys that there was some extra stuff going on, and I wasn't sure how much it was going to be, but I knew it was not anticipated. So,
Yeah.
but I can try to be a little bit more accurate. I guess maybe that might help everybody, give everybody a better handle on what's really going on.
I think when I read your email, Greg, that you did send, it talked about that. From the tone and timbre, I was anticipating that, okay, on a $48,000 project, we're $3,000 or $4,000 over. We needed another couple of truckloads of gravel, or we just realized we need another 80 feet of pipe or something. Not that we're coming in this much over.
Yeah.
This is big, it's a big overage. And my real interest is just understanding how it happened, so that as we do other projects going forward, we can estimate better. I mean, the most obvious thing we need to do is we need to put a more slack in the budget. We need to say, if the estimate's 48, it's probably going to go up, and we need to deliberately build in a pad for it, because if it comes in under, well, okay, we can always find something else to fix in this problem.
Oh yeah, we got plenty.
Or just save it, put it into.
We could do something. I mean, we have to do that. And the only other thing that I would ask is that, our two guys on the ground who I trust to do the right thing, just a little bit of a post-mortem, when you sit down tomorrow for half an hour, just think about it.
Yeah.
Is there any, at a point, was there things that we as a commission, you as the water wastewater operators, the guys I trust to be on the ground and do the job, is there anything that we could have done a little bit better or should have paid more attention to, just so we don't have as big an overage? And it's not a rock, it's what I do personally in my own job, is sometimes things don't work out the way I wanted. And I'm like, okay, what could I have done better just so I don't end up in this pickle 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, 5 years? And that's all I would ask.
Yeah, and it's kind of been an educational experience, and you're right, we do need to go forward and kind of be a little bit more anticipatory for some of these things, because like the Brook Road project, our mapping for that was really not accurate. And the information that we had about it was really not accurate. What we found in the ground over there was not anticipated, and I suspect that we do Berry Hill, we're going to run the same thing. And I suspect that when we do School Street, we're going to have the same issue.
Every time you guys stick a backhoe in the ground, we hit stuff we did not know was there. That's just part
I'm
of
waiting for
parkour.
Jimmy Hoffa to come up.
Okay.
Part and parcel. Anyway.
Yeah.
The other thing that I think is part of this is that we might need to budget differently. And I don't mean by putting a lot more money as a pad in, because let's face it, that might not be the way to go. And that's my thing, but it might be that if we know that something is going to be a big project, that we don't come up with a bunch of different projects to do. We just do 1 or 2 big projects instead of 3, or something like that. I don't know. But
part of my concern is this at the start, when we budgeted this didn't look like a big one. This did not look like Berry Hill. This did not look like some of the others, the School Street. This looked like a project. It was money. More reason.
Right.
Looked like, okay, we can swing this by spreading the money around a little bit. So I think we beat this to a pulp, and it's 5-7.
Yeah.
So.
yeah, I can't see the clock anymore, so I have no idea what time it is.
About
Okay.
8-7.
Okay. So update on the 20-year evaluation. Hey, one thing that I wanted to say about that is I noticed I was going back through some of my emails, and there's that meeting on the 17th. Is anybody of us commissioners going to that?
I hope you all are. I hope you all are.
I hadn't heard whether that meeting was actually occurring or not. There was a message from Greg asking Josh, could he set up a Zoom session for it? And that was the last I heard, but that was like a week ago.
Yeah, they were
Okay.
talking about what the different kinds of things, Zoom or the other one, and I think we all said Zoom, but because that's
But you
coming
never
up.
were. But you
Is
were
that
not given
this week, Mary?
this. Yes.
Yeah,
Thursday.
on the 7th, it's Thursday, the 17th.
Did I get copied on that? Because I didn't know about that. Because we should.
See, that's the problem.
If the commissioners will be there, I need to post that around town.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, because, yeah, Josh and Tim were not copied on it either. I didn't realize you weren't copied on it.
I don't, if I was, I missed it, which I don't usually do, but it's possible, but
And I don't know. I'm getting very bad at not looking to see who gets these emails. I used to be very good at that. I told Carol today that sometimes I think I should resign because I seem to be slipping up on a lot of stuff. But
I just checked, Carol. You weren't on that email.
I wasn't.
No, it was just.
What was the date on that email?
And
At least I didn't.
people.
At least I didn't miss it, but it's also bad that I didn't know about it.
Tristan, what was the date on that? I'm just see if I got it.
7. Oh,
Let me.
Thursday.
Well, it's going to be on Thursday. The last email we got was 9/8/2020. It doesn't look like you or Tim were on that email either. Looks like
Who sent that?
us and then a few people from
the
the
guy from A&E.
Yeah, Mike.
Well, I've gotten after them before about not including me, and they
This
should
is
know
a
better.
whole new guy, though. It's not any of the
Oh,
guys that we've
yeah.
dealt with before.
Oh, for goodness sake.
Okay.
So I probably should have noticed that. I'm sorry. But yeah, it's this Thursday. At what time?
1:30.
Yeah.
Well, I can attend it. I just need to get someone needs to send me a link for what, I mean, I wasn't even sure the meeting was taking place. From last I heard, it was still very, oh, well, maybe there'll be a meeting. There is definitively a meeting 17th at 1:30.
Yes.
Okay.
Who's setting
I
it
should
up?
be able to attend.
I think those guys up there are, aren't they?
A&E is the one doing the primary presentation because they're going to be showing off the 60% draft plan of the evaluation. They asked that someone from the town set up the actual Zoom meeting itself because they haven't really used Zoom. They don't have an account.
Right. They wanted to use something that I'd never used.
Microsoft Teams, which I haven't used either.
So can you be at that, Josh?
At 1:30. The 17th, you said?
Yes.
Yeah. It's Thursday.
I think I can move some stuff around.
If not, I think the other thing you might be able to do is just to send me the link thing and I'll, put it on the agenda or send it up to them or something so they could put it on the agenda. So at least we'd have the Zoom links.
That I can do.
It'd be better to have you there though.
Yeah, I think that's fine. And all right, I think I got it here. All right, I'll send you that ASAP.
Okay.
Can someone forward that to me so I'll have the information, please?
Yep. Anything else you guys want to talk about the 20-year eval?
Well, it would be nice if it actually produced some useful information.
Right.
Do you want me to forward you the last email that we got that has their 60% review meeting agenda and a copy of the 60% evaluation?
Yeah.
I got a copy of that a while ago.
Of the agenda and the.
Pretty sure.
Okay, I'll send it to.
Might as well just send it again, Tristan. Just be sure everybody's got it.
Send it to everybody. Yeah.
Thank you.
Did you ever get to do thing that you were hoping there would be enough rain to do?
No.
No, we scheduled a couple of days to do overnight flow gauging, and we set aside one day to do camera work. We did do the camera work, but we haven't had enough rain to do flow gauging to look for inflow and infiltration.
Well, we know where it is after that meeting earlier.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Okay. Let's go to the chief facility and assistant facility operators report.
I don't know. We have a couple of things going on, and that I guess we need to update you on. The pumps for the phosphorus are installed. We need to get chemical, and we need to figure out how we're going to store that and actually get it down here. That's still in process. And we have both tanks back in service, although I'm not sure we're going to continue. I'm not sure how we have to watch and see, evaluate what's actually happening with what we just did. And so I'll try and keep you up to speed with that as it happens. But yeah, Elizabeth Walker was here last week, and she and Tristan went over and looked at what was going on in that tank, and also talked about getting the chemical. And so we're working forward on that. To the best of my knowledge, our permit is still in process, and it's going to be a while yet because the state is not able to do a whole lot because we still have a COVID pandemic going on, I think, is part of it. But anyway.
Yeah, but they have been getting out other people's permits, so we should expect the state will be looking to come to us, to the commission, and propose what their permit's going to be. So we have a very slight comment period that probably won't mostly be informational about what it's going to be before it's actually fully implemented. But a few have gone out, so we should be expecting that within the next couple months, I would think.
Okay.
I finally got my driver's license, so somebody at the state offices are working.
That reminds me.
So you're 60 what, Mary? You just got your driver's license?
Yeah.
Oh, I've been driving 50 years and just got your license?
No.
Oh.
Since before August 1st. I just got it the other day.
I like our version better. It's funnier.
Yeah, well.
Tristan and Greg, did I get an over $5,000 bill from Montpelier wastewater because you had to pump something out?
Yes.
Okay.
I suspect that's probably what's going on. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, the lines actually the lines have been cleaned in town, and I'm gonna let Tristan talk to you about that because he was there. And
I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we had to have Minosh come out to finish pumping out the waste tank so we could do a little bit of maintenance in there. So we did that real quick first thing in the morning, and then we went out and jetted lines, hit a few of the usual suspects and a few places we hadn't gotten to in a couple years as part of our usual program. And if anything else, COVID is making people flush less grease and less rags because it's the cleanest I've ever seen it anytime we've jetted lines. Apparently keeping
what the heck was that?
Maplefield,
Bella, he said.
yeah, keeping Positive Pie and Maplefield's closed for a couple months certainly means less grease in the lines. At least that's my guess, because like I said, they were cleaner than I've seen them any other time we've done it. But
it's interesting.
So it was fairly uneventful.
Since they're talking about how many people are cooking at home these days.
I know, it is odd, isn't it?
I mean, home a lot less grease than pizza places and restaurants and whatnot. So
well, yeah, that's true.
very tiny amounts coming from any individual is going to be a lot less than thousands or hundreds of gallons coming from one location.
Yeah.
So it's certainly seemed like it was less.
Yeah. But the other thing is that we're noticing is that system loading it fluctuates quite a bit. And what we're actually seeing on our settling daily varies from about what we used to, 1 to 15 to all the way up to about 130 milliliters per liter. And that keeps on happening from time to time. And I think it has something to do with the fact that people are home. But I'm not sure. I mean, we're not getting grease. We're getting a lot of debris, a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it's to be expected, but without having any rain and without having the dilution from the lines that you know keep on getting infiltration, our flows are way down. I mean, our flows are less than half of, well, I won't say less than half, but they're about half normal. And so we just kind of got to keep an eye on that. I went up and looked at the springs. They are producing, but they're not producing. The spring box is not full, but there's still pretty decent flow going into it, which is a good thing. And so I'm glad people are being conservative, but we're still using about 30 to 40,000 gallons a day anyway. So just kind of be aware that that's what's going on.
So do you think that they should post, that one of the commission should post again about conserving water?
I think that the people are doing a very good job, and I don't want them to stop using water. But no, people are doing a very good job. I think that.
Okay.
So I'm very thankful for that. But you can post and thank them for being very conservative.
Okay. Well, yeah. Maybe I could put something on Front Porch Forum again.
Yeah. So yeah.
And also part of your report, you're still pretty much working from home?
I am better part of the week. I'll be in tomorrow because we're doing backflow test, the annual backflow test. I'll be in tomorrow.
Right. Yeah.
And I'll be in on Friday and because Tristan's going to be off because he's working the weekend. But other than that, we still got some other projects we've got to get done physically at the plant. So I'll be there for that. But I'm trying to get some stuff done from home still. So.
One of the things that I had mentioned to Carol when I asked her if she knew if you were working from home is the policies.
I should be reviewing the updates that we should be making to that.
I don't even know if it's a review because it's new. It needs to be written.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think some of it's written. I think, Tristan, you started some of it, didn't you?
Yeah, I have one.
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, I think we approved the wastewater.
Oh, I haven't seen him since he was a baby.
A little bigger now. We approved the wastewater one, which we'll really use another look at just because it was mostly just the allocation ordinance turned into a policy. A few little things, but the water one was mostly just an outline ahead of various things we talked about and that need to be on that. So they both started, but they both could use another look at, and one in particular needs a little more fleshing out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, what time is it?
7:08.
7:08. Okay.
Sounds like
That sounds like we should be about to other business and past approving warrants and all that kind of stuff. I think my chipper meter is run out.
Me too.
So we approve the warrants. There's no other business. Well, there's a little bit of other business, but it's not really business. It's just something I want to ask you guys. It's kind of funny, I guess. And then set next meeting date.
Oh, that's right. Let me get the calendar out. Now, what is Tristan still drinking or what? Is that why Tim's laughing?
It's a baby.
No, we have Malcolm impersonating a
He's-
moose.
But he's not a baby anymore. He's getting to be a young
Malcolm's
little
got
boy.
his thumbs in his
Oh,
ears, and
Malcolm.
his hands to the side of his head, and using moose antlers.
Aww.
He's doing Bullwinkle.
Aww. When are we supposed to meet? Is it usually the third Monday? I can't even remember.
I think it was originally the third, but it's been all over the map.
Here's what would work for me really well. Anytime
Okay.
after, like, like after tomorrow. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Because I go to the doctor every 28 days and get my medicine, and I'm right now out of it, and that's why I'm feeling really horrible. So I don't know how to figure that out right now because my brain has decided to quit.
Well,
But if we could,
well,
would that be would that be if we tried to get it toward the beginning of when I get the medicine, like that first week? Do you get what I'm saying? Well, I get it tomorrow and I get it every 28 days. So, which is every 4 weeks. So what week would that put that into? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That'd be like the week of October 6th. It's 6th, 7th is 4 weeks out from tomorrow.
Monday is.
And then we could go to the next Monday. And what Monday would that make it?
October
That
12th.
would be the 12th, and that would be Columbus Day. That's that.
Okay,
problem that we always-
but generally, what Monday would that be of the month?
That would be the second Monday.
And that's what I think we usually meet. Or at least when we were usually meeting was the second Monday.
Actually, I think we were, you know what? I thought we were doing the third, and the first or the third. You know why? Because we try not to meet the same night as select board. Like tonight, we're meeting same as select board. That was because we skipped the August meeting.
Well, but does it matter if we're doing Zoom?
No, I guess not. And select board doesn't start till 7, so people can still go to that usually.
Yeah.
Okay, so when in October do you want to meet?
Well, I guess if that's Columbus Day, the next Monday.
The 19th.
Yep. Does that work for you, Mary?
I don't know, I guess.
Okay.
I mean, I'm just saying if we can do it on the second Monday, then that would probably be the best. But if we can't,
all right, so for November, right. So for November, we'll shoot for the 9th.
Okay, so it's October 19th.
Yes.
Is that what you said? Okay.
Yes.
I'm just speaking for me, but we could do it on the 13th of October, which is the Tuesday.
Okay.
I don't have a problem. I don't know about anybody else's schedules.
It doesn't matter to me.
Okay. I'm writing it in for the 13th.
13th, okay.
You only just make sure that the agenda is done the Friday before. Because just because we don't want to, I guess it would have to be anyway, but yeah, we don't want to be thinking, oh, we have a whole other day Monday, but I don't want to try to run around on Saturday.
Yeah.
What time are we going to meet, folks? I honestly thought today was 5:30. I don't know how I got screwed up, but.
I think because we talked about Mr. Stone at 5:30. It should be 5:15.
Yeah, it's always been 5:15. But
That
yeah,
is
you're
fine.
right. We talked about
Somewhere-
Mr. Stone at 5:30.
Somewhere I crossed the wire and picked up it was 5:30. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I will make a note of it being 5:15.
I think it was because of Mr. Stone.
Who knows?
That man.
All right. Let's see here.
Okay, so we're pretty much done. So we can adjourn.
Okay.
At what time? But don't leave, people. I just want to tell you something kind of funny.
7:14.
7:14.
All right.
Okay, so we're adjourned at
Stop it.
7:14. Stop recording.